So let's say we are looking at kavinė.
Kavinė yra prie...
That's a market. The market word is turgus.
Kavinė yra prie turgo.
Turgaus.
Turgaus.
Yeah, this is the ending that is, well, everyone struggles with it. You're not original if you find it more difficult to deal with it. Think always about Vilnius and Vilniaus, because you will see that a lot if you're in Vilnius, like Vilniaus savivaldybė, Vilnius municipality, things like that. Vilniaus rajonas, so like the area. So you will see a lot of this one. Yeah, so turgus is the same kind, and it will be prie turgaus. Prie turgaus. Okay, and let's say we're talking about parduotuvė. Parduotuvė.
Parduotuvė yra prie teatro.
Teatro. Ko dar? What else? Dar is else. What was the word for hotel? Viešbutis.
Viešbutis. Parduotuvė yra prie viešbučio.
Viešbučio. Taip, prie viešbučio. Parduotuvė yra prie viešbučio, prie teatro, prie, let's say, church, prie bažnyčios. Taip. Okay, one more, or do you give up?
I'll give up for now.
Okay, Juris, did you write anything?
Yeah, what was left? I don't think.
Okay.
What was left?
Yeah, so what would be your sentences?
Muziejus yra prie banko.
Taip.
Parduotuvė yra prie viešbučio. Teatras yra prie muzejo.
Muziejaus, it's same ending. Us, yeah, Vilniaus, muziejaus, turgaus.
Muzejaus.
Taip, is
I
that
don't
it?
know.
Viskas, okay. Okay, that's all from this one. Then there's also another map that I will want to share with you. It's a bit more detailed, prettier generally, but that will be for maybe not this time. And then we had listening exercises. So did anybody do it?
Which that music? Number?
Music, and also there was attachment in email.
Oh, maybe that I missed.
Yeah, okay, so if you open like I'm thinking how I can share the email with you. Basically, if you search in your email for Namų darbas, homework.
Yeah, that was
this, and there's attachment for listening files, and then we can do it together right now.
There was recording, there was...
recording. Kur kas yra ir yra klausimas. Klausimas means listening. So that was the one.
Separate link. It was like link. It was not
like
document. Yes, it was like link.
No, there was a link, and those were listening files. And then if you check attachments, there was klausimas, puslapis 60.
Okay, with numbers. Okay,
yeah. Anybody else? Did you find it?
Yeah, thanks for your screenshot now.
Just right now.
Yeah, but when I there were a lot of klausimas, so I don't know, at some point I was like at number 60, I was like, I'm not sure it's this one. And I guess
Yeah, it is a lot. They don't have like separate files for everything. It's just everything is in one place. For a moment, actually, when you texted me, I went to check if they did not release some new edition of the book, because that happens too. And then they mess everything up. For example, you want to send the keys to answers to some student, and you send it and you figure out, oh, they changed some exercises, so now it does not work. And I don't have any key for the new one. Okay, so you have the file. Everyone has the image in front of themselves. And yeah, so let's do this exercise. I will share the tab with the listening files. And then, yeah, so here we have the chapters. Skyrius koks tā, pokalbiai means those conversations, so the ones that are in the beginning. And then we have reading and klausimas, so that's the listening files. And so there were these exercises there. I think there's a mistake though, because it should be second exercise and number 2. Yeah, but there was one exercise where there was a sequence of numbers, and the other one was with the address and phone number. So first, I will play each of them twice to make sure you hear everything. You know, some people are quicker, some people need some time to, focus, because when someone speaks to you in a new language, it's always a bit shocking and scary. So basically, yeah. So I will play now for like a second or so to see if the sound is working for you. It should be. Everything is set the way that it should. And then we will try to do the exercise. Okay, so let's try.
Klausimas. Pirma užduotis.
Okay, did you hear anything?
Yeah,
Okay, good. So
but there was special likas written in email. Not 2-mitu. So there
where
is
was this?
16. There is 16 if I'm looking at the right email.
Okay, yeah. But this was the other exercise. This exercise that
Even
was with the
another
image. Yeah.
Okay.
And this was 61. 61. Okay, so let's do the first one. Again, I will play twice.
Paklausykite ir parašykite, kokia eilės tvarka nuo 1 iki 12 girdite skaičius.
4, 9, 12, 5, 15, 7, 50, 11, 68, 17, 34, 22.
Okay, so it's a bit messy compared to the exercise, so just try to listen to the sequence and not pay too much attention to that, because yeah, I remember that it's always a bit tricky with that one, like you're trying to follow what sequence they play. But okay, so one more time. Dar kartą.
Klausimas. Pirma užduotis. Paklausykite ir parašykite, kokia eilės tvarka nuo 1 iki 12 girdite skaičius.
4, 9, 12, 5, 15, 7, 50, 11, 68, 17, 34, 22.
Okay, so the sequence is, I will write it in the chat, the numbers that you were supposed to hear. And you will tell me how many mistakes you made. So, 4, 9, 12, 15, 15, 7, 50, 11, 68, 17, 34, 22. How did it go, everyone? Everything was... Yeah, which one was it?
One mistake.
Yeah.
The 12, I thought it was 20 when I read it.
Yeah, would be 20. Yeah.
I think the most surprising one is the 11, that I thought it was a 20. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, 11 is 11. Yeah, basically, yeah. Whenever it's something like tens, like 20, 30, it always ends with dashim. So a 10, like 2 times, twice 10, 3 times 10, 4 times 10. Basically, that's what it means. And then lika is always going to indicate that this is a teen. So 12, yeah, that group.
For some reason, I confused 11 with 19.
19, yeah. If you made mistake 12, 19, you're 98% of my students, if not 99.5. That's
well,
like...
I confused 11 with 19. That's weird.
What exactly?
I confused 11 with 19, not 12.
Oh, 19. 11, 11 ir 19. Okay, that's a new one. Yeah, that's a new one. 11 ir 19. Yeah, but I'm thinking, well, 2 syllables, both are kind of like long, so maybe, yeah, that could be. Wait, I will check where it was positioned. So 11 came after 50. Okay, then I guess maybe it could caught you off guard a little bit. Okay, so let's listen to the other one. And that's where they're gonna have a conversation, and you have to write phone number. My most hated exercise when I'm learning any language. So I will play it twice again, and yeah, let's listen.
Antra užduotis. Paklausykite pokalbio ir parašykite, koks yra kieno telefono numeris ar adresas. Pirmas pokalbis.
Mano telefono numeris 86 86 06 332. Tomai, koks tavo telefono numeris?
Mano telefono numeris, Margarita, yra 86 86 09 907.
Prašom pakartoti, Tomai.
8 6 8 6 0 9 9 0 7.
8 6 8 6 0 9 9 0 7.
Taip.
Okay. Well, they made sure they repeat as many times as possible. Do we need to repeat once again, or did you catch it? Okay, Juris wrote 86 86 09 907. Okay, that's right. Yeah, they made sure, and she used the phrase "prašom pakartoti." What does it mean? Do you remember?
Please repeat.
Please repeat.
Yeah, please repeat. And "prašom lėčiau" would be like please slower. You know, like when and they're not trying you, but there is a breed of people that will read it as 86, 86, 099, 07. So basically in tens. But yeah, that can happen in the wild, but they're a rare breed. Okay, then we have another conversation, and that's about address. So the house number and the flat number. Let's listen.
Antras pokalbis.
Koks tavo adresas, Viktorai?
Miško gatvė 4, 14.
Miško gatvė 4, 44?
Ne, Aleksandra, ne 44, o 14. Miško gatvė 4, 14.
A, dabar suprantu. Miško gatvė 4, 14.
Okay, they also made sure to repeat as many times as possible. So the address is Miško gatvė, 414. First comes the house number and then comes the apartment number. 414. Kas yra miškas?
Forest.
Yeah, that is forest. That is our word for forest. Okay, so now it's time to remember. Okay, there was also this song. Wait, I'm not gonna forget about it. So I will share. This is the lyrics. The lyrics go, I have been watching you for a long time, not creepy at all. Through my window from my home, in the rain, I see you're all alone. Vienas. So vienas means one, but that's also the way we would mean that, like, I'm alone. Aš esu vienas, so like with no company. Pilkas kiemas ir tu, gray yard and you. Tu nematai, aš rašau tau. You can't see that I'm writing to you. Ant savo lango skaičius. On my window, I'm writing the numbers. 6, 9, 9, 3, 5, 9, 5, 1. So, how will that look in digits? 6, 9, 9, 3, 5, 9, okay. Aha, teisingai, correct. 6, 9, 9, 5, 5. And then she says, Justiniškių. What's this number?
7.
7. Justiniškius. Aš tavo kaimynė, I'm your neighbor. Butas A.
9.
Tai butas A9. Paskambink man, jei tau liūna, call me if you're sad. Tu vis nepakeli akių, so your like eyes are like down and you like tu vis dar nepastebi ženklų, you can't see the can't see the signs, and then she repeats many times. Yeah, and apparently this was a real number, like I've told you before, and somebody got a bunch of phone calls the day the song was released. And yeah. Okay, so yeah, now let's go to our grammar file. I have added some stuff there. So there's reading. I added the vocabulary in case you need. Where was the vocabulary? Here, koks tavo adresas. So these are just the words. Again, not all of them. I don't know. I've been uploading. Okay, all of them. So just 2 pages. Yeah. So last time we learned how to say, and I refuse to use ChatGPT. So I either use emojis or I use doodles. So in this case, which one do we use? Locative case or genitive case? So we have namas and we have ežeras, lake. Aš esu prie namo, so the little human is outside, but he's like next to it. So like aš esu prie namo. So this case we will usually use, for example, if someone has your address, knows where you live, but for example, they're not sure which house is that. Like, the plates are somehow positioned in a weird place, or like there's some plant that's like getting in the way and you cannot see it. And then, for example, your friend would write, mano namas, my house, yra prie banko. Is the one next to the bank or museum, So like kind of, you're giving a marker. Or for example, if you're meeting at some square, and again, kur tu esi, where are you? Aš esu prie kiosko. I'm next to the kiosk, and people can find you. And then locative case, the one that we will use with countries, with cities, or if we're inside. Like this little human is inside, and it says, Aš esu name. I'm in the house. Do not confuse this with home. That's home will usually be used in plural, or we already talked a little bit about it, but I think we are going to learn a new form that's irregular word. It's home is special place, so I will give you some exercise with that later too. So namie would be I'm at home, but I'm in the house. Aš esu name. Another example, ežeras. Aš esu prie ežero. So this is like, you're at the beach, you're chilling, you're grilling, and aš esu ežere is I'm in the lake. So you're already swimming. You're swimming, you're enjoying the water in the lake. And then we have pilis. Pilis, I added this like a bit. This is not a dot, this is stress mark. And the stress mark in last syllable usually means it's feminine. So pilis, aš esu prie pilies. So this little human is next to the castle. For example, it's some kind of, tourist attraction, like some medieval kind of a tourist attraction, and there's a castle. And maybe that castle is not big enough and that people are like looking for each other. Where are you? Where are you? And describe, I'm next to the castle. And then we have, I'm in the castle. So I'm in the castle. If the human is inside, we use this iye endings. Okay. Yeah, so I prepared these 30 sentences for you. And they're all with the vocabulary that we've learned, we've studied. Okay. And basically what you will have to do is pick the correct tense and the correct ending. So again, this is in our grammar file. And I'm thinking how much time. I think I will give you 15 minutes, but let's see, maybe you need less. It's even better if you write with hand, at least some of them, to memorize. But, you do the way it works for you. You know better what helps you. Yeah, and if you have some questions about the vocabulary, it's again, vocabulary koks tavo adresas. This is where you can repeat the vocabulary. Yeah, so sentences. So this will be either, so I'm buying a book. This was a bit like new. Basically, either locative case, so ija, oja, and so on, or prie. Prie is usually already written. So like, you just have to pick the right ending. Okay, so 15 minutes. I will give you 15 minutes. And then we can talk about new topic, which is also related to objects and location. Okay. Sėkmės. Okay. So you already had a sneak peek. I was trying to check if one link works, but it doesn't. Okay, so how difficult was it? No, 1 iki 10, from 1 to 10. But this guy, yeah.
Not really, because I don't know, if you see the word, so you just change the ending.
Yeah. Yeah, but well, the endings, like this kind of exercises are there for the, muscle memory pretty much. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe I will ask you each of you to read 4 sentences, and then we are just gonna, or maybe 3 sentences for each, and then we will discuss if there's mistakes. So, Alexei, could you be the one that begins?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Aš studijuoju universitete.
Mm-hmm. Taip.
Mano brolis nestudijuoja, jis yra mokykloje.
Mm-hmm. Taip.
Vaikai yra vaikų darželyje.
Taip. That's literally kindergarten. And in everyday language, you will hear people say that just darželis about kids. Vaikų darželis. So literally kindergarten. Nursing home, nursery school. Okay. Then Juris, these 3. We have it. You with us?
Yeah, I didn't switch on.
Okay.
Mēs esam bibliotekoje.
Taip.
Aš pērku
Knygā.
Knīga. Knygīne.
Taip. Yeah, I'm buying a book at the bookshop. Ir paskutinis
Mēs esam restorāne.
Taip. Teisingai. You got some portion of us ending, which does not have any yeah, it's just e. And then we have Yun.
Jie yra bare.
Taip.
Aš esu kavinėje.
Taip, gerai.
Studentė dabar yra valgykloje.
Taip, puikiai. Then again, Alexei.
Mano draugas dirba ligoninėje.
Taip.
Ji dirba klinikoje. Mano mama dirba vaistinėje.
Taip, gerai. Vaistinė. Vaistai is basically medicines. So pharmacy is a place when they sell those things. And then we have Yun.
Mes gyvename gatvėje.
Taip.
Parduotuvė yra prie aikštės.
Taip, gerai.
Kavinė yra prie upės.
Taip, puikiai. Labai gerai. Juris, you will have one tricky one, the stotis. The one that's a bit different, the feminine one.
Viešbutis yra prie jūros.
Taip.
Aš gyvenu prie stoties.
Taip, puikiai.
Autobus yra prie stotelėje.
Prie stotelės.
Stotelės.
Yeah, this is a bit a typical way to say it. You could say stotelėje if there was no prie. But if it's prie, then it's genitive. Our locative never has anything in front of it. No, no articles, nothing goes in front of it. It's just on its own. So if you ever see some prie, ant, už, whatever, most likely it's going to be genitive, but can be accusative sometimes, depends on whatever you see. We will see today what accusative needs. But yeah, locative will not have anything at all. Okay, Alexei?
Mano biuras yra centre.
Mm-hmm.
Mes gyvename senamiestyje.
Mm-hmm.
Bankas yra prie pašto.
Taip, puikiai. Okay, Jun?
Ambasada yra prie ministerijos.
Mm-hmm.
Aš dirbu biure.
Mm-hmm.
Mano kaimynas gyvena name prie banko.
Puikiai. Yeah, this was the most difficult, most challenging sentence, and you nailed it. Labai gerai. Juris?
Mes gyvenam bute.
Mm-hmm. Taip.
Studentai gyvena bendra būt.
This is like a dormitory. So
Okay,
student dormitory. Mm-hmm.
Ja, studentai gyvena. Tas dara. Bendrabūtos.
Bendrabūtyje.
Bendrabūtyje. Bendrabūtyje. Okay.
Yeah.
Turistas yra viešbutyje.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is a bit scarier, and when you see these senamiestis, bendrabutis, like longer words, they're a bit intimidating. But when you like usually, most of the time, when you stress them, especially when there's a in the middle, somewhere around the middle, you're gonna stress that a there. So senamiestis, bendrabutis, naujamiestis, and so on. And it's just you look at this is and treat it like every other viešbutis or other a noun with that ending. Okay, and the last three goes to Alexei.
Bažnyčia yra prie parko.
Mm-hmm.
Vaikai yra parke.
Mm-hmm. Taip.
Mes esame miške.
Taip. Gerai. Puikiai. I think we're ready to move on to I had to pick a new, because we have a new chapter, and I had to pick what is like the most logical way to approach this new chapter, and I decided that we are going to talk about the way we would say, and I remember Yun asked this, I think, last lesson, when you go to somewhere, so when it's your destination. So this chapter is pretty much about it. So kada is when, kur susitinkam, where do we meet? So we have phrases, but because they're mostly focusing around time, so let's leave time for next time we see each other. And I wanted to focus more on the these verbs and the accusative case, when we say, like, we know how to say where we are from, we know how to say where we are at, and we can tell what is next to us. Like, aš esu prie kiosko, I'm next to the kiosk, if you're looking for me. So then we have some of the new verbs, and they're very good verbs. They usually somehow people forget them, but they really work. Like, well, these are the ones that are easiest to remember, but the rest of them are also good. So we have eiti, eina, ėjo. So this is to walk, to go on foot. Remember, if we conjugate, we take the middle one. So aš einu, tu eini, jis eina, mes einame. Jūs einate, jie jos eina. Then we have this one is good one. Skubėti, skuba, skubėjo is to rush, to hurry. Skubu, skuba, skubi, skuba, mes skubame, jūs skubate, jie jos skuba. Susitinka, so this is susitikti is to meet up each other. So susitinka, again, susitinku, aš susitinku, tu susitinki, jis susitinka, and so on. And then we have važiuoti, važiuoja, važiavo, to go by transport, so by train, by bicycle, by car, you name it. It doesn't mean that you're driving it. It's basically you're just taking some kind of vehicle to get there. And then we have this one, very important, and I would say should be used frequently, but every time everyone writes email, sorry, I will be late. But in Lithuanian, it would be atsiprašau, aš vėluoju, I'm late. We have a special verb for that. Vėluoti, vėluoja, vėlavo. Now, susitikti, susitinka, susitiko is the one that we would use with locative, because it's basically we're meeting at that point. So, for example, susitinkame aikštėje, let's meet at the square. Susitinkame mokykloje, let's meet at the school. Susitinkame bažnyčioje, let's meet at the church. So basically somewhere like it's passive. But there's verbs where it's kind of like it indicates that we're moving somewhere, like there's a destination, right? For example, eiti, eina, ėjo. Skubėti, so basically where to you are rushing. Važiuoti, važiuoja, važiavo, to go by transport somewhere. Again, it's destination. It's not our location where we are right now. It's destination, where we are heading to. Then vėluoti, vėluoja, vėlavo. I'm late to something. So these are the verbs, and some of them, majority of them, except this one, will require a new construction. And these two constructions, but if you speak French, this one is basically, French I think has equivalent, if I remember correctly. So basically if you go to somebody, not to like some object or some building, but to somebody. So let's example sentences. And this is like, if you look at the endings, it's not too bad either. Us, we just drop basically the last letter and just add the little tail. Us, is, these are sister endings, like I always say. They are like, when we decline them, most of the time they're going to be identical. E, us, is, so basically always something with the tail. An example sentences say, kur jūs einate? Where are you going? Kur jūs einate? Aš einu į universitetą. Kur eini? Einu pas draugą. I'm going to my friends. So I'm visiting a friend. So we have the distinction between to go to a building, a place, event, but then we use pas in same case when it's a human being that we're visiting. Like we're visiting grandma. Aš einu pas močiutę. I'm going to my grandma. Kur jūs važiuojate? Where are you going? By car, by train? We don't know that. Aš važiuoju į Kauną. I'm going to Kaunas. And then kur susitinkame? So where do we meet? And here we use this past because we want to say who are we visiting basically. So at Anna's and Thomas's place. Susitinkame pas Tomą ir Aną. And then we have more examples. For example, universitetas Tomas. Važiuoju į universitetą, važiuoju pas Tomą. Then we have Helsinkis, Rytis, važiuoju į Helsinkį, važiuoju pas Rytį, man's name, and city. Panevėžys, važiuoju į Panevėžį, važiuoju pas Stasį. Ambasada, Lina, važiuoju į ambasadą, važiuoju pas Lina. So Lina, a name, so we are visiting her, we use pas. Kavinė, Eglė, važiuoju į kavinę, važiuoju pas Eglę. Turgus, profesorius, važiuoju į turgų, važiuoju pas profesorius. So I'm visiting a professor, I'm going to the market. And then we have these specific ones. Now, I've taught you already that most of the time, if it's a feminine noun that ends with is, we will stress it. And pretty many people will say this word moteris. But then we had this standardization where they decided that it should be moter. So this will be a bit extra. This means woman, literally woman. Stotis, moteris, važiuoju į stotį, I'm going to the market, važiuoju pas moterį, I'm going to the woman, I'm going to visit her. And there's exclamation tail cat, mes einame namo. So in previous exercise, we used a lot of namo, right? And that meant house in genitive, like prie namo, next to the house, iš namo, from the house, stuff like that. And then if we stress namo, it means I'm going home. So we are going home. Mes einame namo. But this namo, namie, I think I will prepare you something extra because they're a bit different and an exception, and it takes time to get used to it. Let's focus now on the classic ones. These are also plural. You will not have much of plurals yet, especially in these cases, but like if you want to take a look, you can take a look. Šiauliai šiaulius, trakai į trakus, druskininkai druskininkus, so us, or s. These are their endings. But now we're focusing on these tails. Us, a with the tail, is, e with the tail, y, s, e with the tail, a with the tail, drops the dot and gets a tail instead, because why not? Us and u with the tail, and is, e with the tail. Now, exercises, what I have written. Okay, wait. I first want to show you my visual explanation a little bit. This is here. Yeah, it's a bit small, so if you switch it on to take a look, it's not a bad idea. So, for example, so we have čia yra stotis. Here is, I will make it bigger, maybe even bigger. So, čia yra stotis. Here is the station. Stotis yra prie banko. So, the station is next to the bank. So, they're next to each other. Jis skuba, this running man, jis skuba į stotį. He's rushing to the station. So use į stotį. So he's rushing to the station. And then also remember we had aš esu iš Korėjos, aš esu iš Lietuvos, aš esu iš Latvijos, aš esu iš Rusijos. We use these, but you can also use this if you want to say I'm leaving someplace. Ji eina iš bažnyčios. She's leaving the church. But our focus right now will be jis skuba į stotį, or šiandien jis važiuoja pas močiutę. So he's taking the train to visit his grandma. Į stotį pas močiutę. So this was a little visualization, because when they're all come together, it can be a bit tricky. And then we have 68, ne, 72. 72. Yeah, we have these couple of exercises here. We have čia yra važiuoju į susitinkame. So what you have to do here, you just have to recognize the endings and where they belong. So in here, when you see it, so this will be those us, and so on. No tails, nothing, the most basic nominative forms. Važiuoju į, this is where we first run into this tail ending. So biblioteka. Susitinkame is the basically locative case. So where we meet. Susitinkame kur. Yeah, so maybe I will give you I was kind of planning to give you both at the same time, but I'm thinking maybe it's too small, or is it not too small? Like, can you
It's
read
okay.
it? It's okay? Okay, then I will give you both of them to do. So in the first one, you just have to pick them out. Like you have to show that you are already recognizing which one is which. This one, 5, is special because it's not E. We're not doing E yet, but we're doing this pas. So pas drauga, I'm going to my friend. Or I'm going to my friends. I think that would be the English way. Like basically I'm visiting that person. But what you have to do is that pus is written. What you have to do is just to write those endings with the tail that you have. And I think in our grammar file, you definitely should have accusative endings. Maybe they're just in different habitat there. Because accusative is not only about this, iš kur tu esi. Well, you can use that as a help, but I'm thinking, is it good enough? No, I think I don't like it. I will upload the screenshot for this one from the book. And I definitely have somewhere the better one. I don't know why it's not here. Okay, so this is the table, and I will share it. Maybe let's secondary, antrinis skirtukas, accusative, kur įterpti, terpti vaizdas iš kompiuterio. Yeah, so now you have it straight from the book. And then again back to 72, 72. Try to make it a bit bigger. Okay, so I will give you again maybe 15 minutes. Let's see, like if you finish earlier, let me know. The plus in the chat, I just don't know like how long it will take to write the sentences and all. Okay, so let's try to work on it. And if you finish early, and let's say others are taking a bit longer, you can try to write to yourself something with E, like į biblioteką, aš einu į bažnyčią, something like that. Okay. Okay. Alexei, is it a lot left?
Well, like I said, I'm done.
Okay. So let's take a look. I will now zoom out the ones that we're looking. So, čia yra. Which words worked here?
Universitetas, bankas.
Taip. There's also
That's-
another one.
Muziejus.
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 Taip.
Muziejus. Okay.
So the ones that worked, universitetas, bankas, muziejus. The thing is that neither accusative or locative will ever really have the ending s. It will never have. So in this case, nominative stood out. Then we have važiuoju į. Which ones worked here?
Bažnyčia, kioską, mokyklą, teatrą, parduotuvė.
Taip.
That's
Taip.
it.
So važiuoju į bažnyčią. I'm going to the church. Važiuoju į kioską. I'm going to kiosk. Važiuoju į mokyklą. I'm going to school or driving to school. Važiuoju į teatrą. I'm going to theater. Važiuoju į parduotuvę. I'm going to the shops. And the last one, susitinkame, the locative one.
Parke, universitete, prekybos centrai,
Taip.
muziejuje, oro uoste et pašte.
Taip. Taip. In the post office, we still have them. Prekybos centre, muziejuje, oro uoste, at the airport, pašte, at the post office. Okay, and then we have these words. Well, basically they were names or like terms like draugas, friend, professor, colleague, basically people. And it means we're going to those people. So how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so, well, technically 9. So maybe 3 for each. And draugas is already filled out. So, Alexei, could you do profesorius, kolegė, administratorius?
Einu pas profesorių, einu pas kolegę, einu pas administratorių.
Taip, gerai. Labai gerai. Jun, Paulius, Vilius ir Inga, Ignas.
Einu pas Paulių,
Taip,
einu pas Vilių ir Inga,
puikiai, taip.
einu pas Igną.
Puikiai. Ir the last ones for Juris, ponas Vytautas, ponia Viktorija, Ugnė.
Einu pas ponas Vytautą, einu pas ponia Viktorija, einu pas Ugnę.
Yeah. When we have that ponas, ponia, we also decline it. So we would say pona Vytauta.
This time it's okay, this time.
Yeah, einu pas
Okay.
pona Vytauta. If it was like some name or, you know, like if we talk streets, for example, then, you know, there's first part never changes or like, but if it's like ponas, Mr.,
No.
Mrs., then we're gonna decline it. Okay. Then we have something else. 73. So next page, and I was planning 6 and 7. Oh, thank God there are no kids. They would destroy me over that 6 and 7. So we have jis dirba, jis važiuoja į. So he works at the place. So dirba is pretty like, you always have to think about the action it means. Sometimes, of course, it can be like cultural, some kind of different cultures, languages interpret differently about whether that verb is like about something moving or is it static. But dirba is like static. You're there. You're not going anywhere. You're there. So he works at the embassy. And then we have jis važiuoja į. So he's going to the embassy. So he's like in the car, on the bus, on the train. He's going there. And you have here some markers that are gonna help you to understand which ones are which when it comes to which endings you need to check. And then we have number 7, where you have to pick out the correct one. So basically we have I, so this is the one that we're learning today. We have ish, which we studied, which was like when I showed that visualization. So from there, we have pas, studying today, to some person. And we have prie, which is next to somewhere, when we need to specify and like, okay, I'm next to this object, you will find me here. So yeah, again, maybe this time I will give 10 minutes and then we can check. Okay, I see that 2 out of the 3 have finished. Yun, can we? Okay, Yun also finished. Okay, he's also ready. Okay, so let's take a look. So here we have one that's already done. Jis dirba ambasadoje, jis važiuoja į ambasadą. Now 2 for each. So let's say Alexei, kavinė, restoranas. What did you write?
Jis dirba kavinė, jis važiuoja į restoraną.
Okay, kavinė, there's something kavinė, if it's vocative.
Kavinėje.
Taip, kavinėje. Jis dirba kavinėje. Yeah, the only one that has the privilege not to have any J, the J letter, is us ending. Restorane, name, ežere, and so on. Yeah, kavinė, and the other was all good. Jun, mokykla, bankas.
Jis dirba mokykloje.
Taip.
Jis važiuoja į banką.
Banką, taip. Gerai. Puikiai. Juris, stotis, viešbutis.
Jis dirba stotyje. Jis važiuoja į viešbutį.
Taip, puikiai. And we have turgus. Jis dirba turguje. Biblioteka, jis važiuoja į biblioteką. Taip. Then we have number 7, where we had all these. Supposedly they were the ones that are coming together. So mes gyvename prie upės. Lina eina pas draugę. Mes važiuojame. This was 2 of them, so this is to feel the difference. Ne.
First, ish or
Ish. Yeah, ish would be ish Vilniaus. Ish is always like, remember when you said aš esu iš Latvijos, it's the same one. Nothing changes there. Mes važiuojam į Vilnių. We're going to Vilnius to visit Povilas. Pas Povilą. Mes važiuojame į Vilnių pas Povilą. Then we have 4. Jie eina. And there's dėstytoja, so professor, like lecturer.
Pas.
Jie eina pas dėstytoja Viktorija. Then we have 5. Bankas yra prie parduotuvės. Taip. And now here we have genitive case popping by. Dabar mes važiuojame iš Kauno
į Vilnių.
Taip, iš Kauno į Vilnių. Taip. Then we have number 7, susitinkame, and this is genitive. Prie restorano. Yeah, we meet next to the restaurant. Ar tu važiuoji į darbą? Darbas, work. Are you going?
Į darbą.
Į darbą, yeah, į darbą. Do you go to work? 9, einu. Okay, this is a trick one. Namo, so home. I'm going home.
Iš darbo namo.
Taip, einu iš darbo namo. That's actually if you run into a Lithuanian neighbor, they will just ask iš darbo, iš mokyklos, iš universiteto, like where are you coming from there? Okay. So we have 10 minutes left. I have some mythological creatures prepared. But first, about the homework, what we have left from the plan for today. So this exercise, 73, here you need to conjugate. So aš einu, tu eini, jis eina, mes einame, jūs einate, jie, jos eina. You see the pronouns here, and you also have to write the word in the form, in its accusative form, į bendrabutį, and so on. The other one is 74, number 74. So here we again have this drawing, and this time we don't have to say what is next to what object. This time we write where we meet, and like I said, locative case is like, well, you could use locative if you want, but we use this prie plus genitive when it's basically next to some object. Like we usually do when we meet people, like we know the place, we know the street, we know like the square. We just need to decide where we meet. Ir einame į muziejų, and we're going to museum. So you have these objects, and you just decide which ones to use, like where we meet and where we are going. And yeah, this is these two, but I think I will also give you another map just to write sentences also, like let's say I don't have that map right now, I couldn't find it in time, but basically it's a bit like this, just a bit like more visual, and it's not, everything is not as like packed into one place, you know. Basically just, you know, like for example, aš einu iš muziejaus į banką. I'm going from the museum to the bank. So basically that kind of thing, and like maybe create like 5 sentences, as many as possible, of course, but like if you need a number, I would say 5 is the number. And next time, what we are gonna learn next time, oh wait, I think I also need to give you this exercise, number 9. How did I skip it? So this is basically conjugation with the verbs that we talked about today. So we'll write that. And next time we'll be getting back to numbers, ordinal numbers. As you can see, they are a bit different. Also the adverbs, often always talking about routine, weekdays. So basically we're learning to plan things. And yeah, so that is it with the book. Now the comic relief file. So just some idioms there that we have in Lithuanian, some creatures that we have. Again, this file is shared with you all and you can easily access it. So yeah, so this is like, you can request for topics for these 10 minutes. Basically, I want 10 minutes where you kind of learn about culture, about history, whatever you prefer, you know, like, and you don't have to think about grammar as much anymore, you know, just to cool down a little bit. So this is Bildukas, this creature, this a bit scary creature. Apsigyvena tavo namuose, or namie, at home. It slepia daiktus and hides your stuff, or your like belongings. Sometimes people will say Bildukas įsimetė. So Bildukas broke into the house. So you know, this is basically like an excuse. If you are messy and some things just disappear from your place, and you know they're like moved to some place where it's unexpected, and no one comes forward, no one tells you what happened, how did that happen, like why is it there, then people will assume that this is Bill Lucas's job. Then we have lots of about velnas that has many names. This is devil. Velnas, Pinchukas, Kipšas, Kipšiukas. Kipšas, Kipšiukas is a bit endearing, like, you know, like a bit like devious, a bit like mischievous nature. I included a picture from Velno Nuotaka, the bride, Devil's Bride, a musical. You should be able to access it at LRT, at our like national television page, and it shouldn't cost anything. So this is a story, and it's based on Kazys Bortas novel, which is basically a story about how Devil was promised that he was going to marry this girl, but she of course has somebody else. You know, the devil in Lithuanian literature, well, he is a swear word, so obviously people feared him, but he is like kind of like naivus, he's naive, truputį kvailas, a bit silly, like he's not the brightest, not scientist. And I included some sayings. Ima jį velniai, may the devils take care of him. Velneva, or just velna. So these are like swear words. What's interesting about our swear words actually is that we have a lot of those may something happen to you. So basically like hexes. And then we have also bala, pekla. Bala in Lithuanian means puddle, just a puddle, like water, a puddle of water. But in older, like deeper sense, it is the hell. So realm where the dead end up. So basically, we have a lot of sayings about the puddle. So katave kur bala velnas. May you get caught by the devil, end up in the puddle or the hell of the dead. For example, you don't know and you cannot really tell. So you say bala žino. So puddle knows, or like those across like in the other realm, they know better. Bala žino. Bala nematė. This is like meh, who cares? So like, for example, usually context would be like, you don't remember something, some detail, and it keeps spinning like that in the conversation. Just say, bala nematė, puddle didn't see. So like, who cares? Also, if you say in vain, like spend money in vain, spend efforts in vain, we would say down the puddle, į balą. So pinigai, money, į balą. Many words that like just with į balą. Namų darbas, į balą. So like in vain, homework was done in vain and did not help us anything. And I learned from another lady. In my family, no one ever said that, but this is in southwest Lithuania. Eik tu balų deginti. Go set puddles on fire. So like to send them off. So yeah, we have a lot about the puddle. Nowadays it's just a puddle. Back in the day it was like, the real deal. Then we have Laima. You may have met a Laima woman. Maybe not as many young women are named that name. This is goddess of faith, or fate, should I say. So she decides your fate, and she is also known, like if you see a cuckoo, also May is named after Gegužė. It likes to turn into a cuckoo, and it watches you and it decides your fate. Then this one I've already told you the first lesson. If you remember that I showed like some simple Lithuanian fairy tales. That one had also this Saulė, the moon, and the dawn. Then this one you may have heard of, Eglė, Queen of Serpentines. So this is like our most legendary one. Basically, Eglė is spruce, so basically Christmas tree undressed. She marries a grass snake, Žalčių karalius, king of the grass snakes. His name is Žilvinas, jo vardas yra Žilvinas. And they have children. Drebulė, beržas, ąžuolas, uosis. So Eglė yra laiminga, she's happy, but her brothers still kill Žalčių karalius, still kill the serpentine. And this is a beautiful story. And my favorite interpretation about this fairy tale, I think it's available somewhere also in simple Lithuanian if you want to read it, that it's about tolerance. So basically, even though this grass snake, which is, weird for them, he took care of her, he took care of the kids, he was a kind guy, but he was different, from different realm. These brothers, Agnes's brothers, were deeply disturbed by it, and even though she was happy, they still saw a problem with it. So this is in Palangoje. And this was very important, Austėja. This is bičių deivė. If you meet Austėja, she's goddess of bees. So bee is a sacred insect. Different, and we have two verbs for dying, or maybe more than them. But there's mirti, mirti, miršta, mirė, to die. And this is served for three creatures. Human, žmogus, dies, miršta. Horse, arklys, and bitė. And the other one, animals, visi kiti gyvūnai, gaišta, dvesa, they have their own words. Yeah, and there's more like Gabia, the goddess of fire, and all kinds of things that you can take a look and maybe learn some idioms that could be useful. And that's it. That was our winding down, like, after the grammar. I will send you the homework, the recording of the lesson. And the next week we're having again ordinal numerals, and it's gonna be fun. Gerai, ačiū labai, iki.
Tiem.